First of all, the Tide closed out its midweek slate with a dominating 10-2 win over Troy on Tuesday. What do you think about Alabama's ability to flush out the weekend and then go in and get that big win against a really good Troy team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just speaks to the stuff I've talked about all year with this group. It's just their toughness, their relentlessness. Like, man, you get your heart ripped out on Sunday, and you see it with teams before. That can really wreck a season when that happens, And instead, our guys came back out and they flushed it, and they came out and played a really good baseball on the road against a really good team. So good to see us wrap up midweeks that way, and even more importantly, just respond to a tough loss on Sunday. So just continues to confirm the makeup of this group that we thought we had.
You finished the season 24-1 in non-conference. That's pretty incredible, and 13-0 in midweek games. You know those midweek games are always tough. They're going to bring their best effort, throw out maybe their weekend pitcher against you to try to get a win. So what does that say about this group to finish the way it did in the non-conference and midweek?
Yeah, one of the more impressive things I've been a part of. I've done this for a little while as an assistant and a head coach, and I've never had a team kind of run the gamut in midweek games. It's just tough to do. There's so much that goes into these weekends, and both physically, emotionally, everything that goes into these weekends. And you see teams get tripped up a lot on Tuesday, especially with the teams we play. We're playing Troy twice, South Al, Southern Miss, UAB. Just really good teams in the midweek, and man, to show up and do your job for 13 straight is really impressive. And obviously would love to have got that one back from Presbyterian on Sunday and finish kind of our out of conference slate perfect. But man, what an incredible job by our guys. And I know we get judged on SEC games and we get judged on how we play in the league, and I 100% respect that. But what these guys have come out and done in the out of conference games has been really, really impressive.
Coach K. Snell produced a career-high 5 RBI against Troy, including a 3-run homer. Just kind of talk about his play on the field, but also off the field as a leader in the locker room.
Yeah, Cade's the best of the best. I mean, last year he came in and was kind of a two-way guy, pitched for us, hit for us, had a back issue last year and just kind of fought through it, like just kept competing and was in tons of pain, but just kind of kept showing up and kept fighting for his guys, and came back this year as a position player only. And not only has he had a solid senior year, it's been closer to elite. I mean, leading the SEC in hitting. He's driving the baseball. He's hitting behind a superstar in LeBron and providing that protection there. And the makeup's just through the roof. I mean, he is such a special kid. And when we started the tradition of number 3, every year you pass that out. And I feel like there's some years you're like, man, we nailed it. And some years that you're like, I don't know, maybe we missed on that one. I've been doing it since 2016 with Papio and back in Maryland, and I'll tell you, I don't know if there's a guy that has embodied what I wanted it to be more than him over my entire time doing it. Just an unbelievable person, works his tail off, has a respect of the locker room, is willing to have the hard conversations, understands when guys need to be picked up. And our season is a direct result of how Cade's led us through it.
Coach, this weekend, Georgia comes in for a 3-game series. They're the most potent home run hitting team in the nation. What's your message to the pitching staff facing such a tough offensive team?
Yeah, I mean, they're dangerous. I mean, you look up and down the lineup, they got 3 guys with north of 15 homers, and you don't see that a lot. We're usually on the higher end of these teams we play of slugging the baseball, and this is one of the only teams in the league and in the country that's kind of topped us in that. And they're dangerous, there's no doubt. But I can tell you, we talked about this, the exact same thing a couple weeks ago, is if you're going to tiptoe around elite hitters, they're going to get you. Like, the way to get a bully off is to go punch him in the face. And so that's what I need our pitchers to do, is when we're going to go in aggressively. You've got to open up that side of the plate. If you can let them get their arms extended, they're scary. And Slade Alford's been dangerous. Dombrowski's been dangerous. The other little lefty they have, man, Burnett has really slugged the baseball. So you have to attack them. You get in bad counts. If you nibble and do some of that, that's when it gets even scarier. So we got to get strike one, we got to attack, and we've got to just send our stuff with immense amounts of aggression.
Coach, in the SEC standings, there's 6 teams right there in the middle, kind of separated by 1 game. You're one of those teams. It's going to be a big weekend, and then, of course, next weekend as well. What's your message to the team, Do you think about that at all? Do you just go out and play each game, one game at a time, or just thinking about the seeding for the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't necessarily put a whole lot of stock in that, but I texted him Monday after Vandy, after we got our heart ripped out on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and I texted him on Monday and I said we did not finish a couple plays we needed to make, maybe a couple pitches we needed to make, but the team that played Saturday and Sunday in Nashville can go out and win a regional, and I firmly believe that. I thought Vandy's arms were elite, and I thought that was as good of an offensive weekend as we've had competing with that level of arms in a while. I thought we got 3 dynamite starts. I thought we got some great bullpen outings. They just beat us late, but I told them, I said, that team will go out and win a regional. I feel the exact same way. Like the team that showed up to Troy on Tuesday, I mean, doesn't mean we're going to sweep this weekend. Doesn't mean we're going to win a game this weekend. But that team's good enough to go win a series this weekend. That team's good enough to host a regional here in June. Now it's a matter, can we stack the next 6 games together like that? Because if we do, whether we're playing here, whether we're playing on the road, whether we go 6-0 or 0-6, like that team's going to be dangerous. Come that week of regional play. So so excited to get out here and get tested against a really, really good team.
Coach, this is the final regular season series, for you here at home this weekend against Georgia. You have a 14-man senior class. This is your chance to send them out, in a great way here at the Joe. How would you describe this senior group and the effect they've had on the program?
It's just huge. We obviously came in last year and, had to replace a lot. I think we lost every position player last year, save Gassetti, our catcher, as far as starting goes. So it was a lot to replace, and the transfer portal kind of allows you to do that. And then you had some young stars emerge, and this year was no different. Because we replaced them with older players, you had to replace those older players again. So just some guys that trusted us. Kate Snell came in and was committed before my staff got here and trusted us with his future and his development, and that can be said for every single one of those guys in that class. They had a chance to either cut and run when the things changed here. They had a chance to go elsewhere if they were somewhere else, and they elected to come spend their time here in Tuscaloosa with us. And some of them have had grave impacts on our season. Some maybe haven't had as big of an impact as maybe they would have liked. But every single one of those guys is vital to what we've been doing here in the season we're having, and just really grateful for them and their parents for trusting us with their kids.
Coach, this weekend is also Mother's Day, and it's going to be one of the celebrations here at the Joe on Sunday. Can you talk about your mother and the impact she had? But also, I know you've seen a lot of these mothers for your players here and just how they've impacted them from what you've seen.
Yeah, I am who I am because of my mom. Like, her and I are incredibly close. My dad worked in the oil business, so when I was a kid, he'd go off and work on the rig for 2 weeks, and he'd come home for 2 weeks. So I kind of missed half of my time with him growing up. And Mom was at every game. She was carrying my hockey bag. She was carrying my baseball bag. She was lacing up my skates. She was doing all of that stuff. And she's the toughest lady I know. I mean, she is a selfless servant of people. And I think I learned everything about how to treat people. I think I learned everything about how to work hard. I think I learned everything about being a tough human from my mom. And I was very fortunate to marry somebody that's the same way. My wife we've got 3 kids now, and the wife of a coach is not an easy life, and it's cool. There's cool pieces of it. But right now she's chasing 3 kids in 3 different directions. She's corralling 3, and she does it with such grace and all that stuff that's unbelievable. So, I think you look at the players' moms that we have. I mean, we try to create a very family dynamic here. So we're a little bit closer maybe with some parents than other places are. But it's a special group of them. And I really think that we as young men, our moms have such a profound influence on our lives and who we turn out to be as people. And we say it all the time, when you have your problem kid, you look at mom and dad and it makes sense. And when you have your kids that are the leaders and the special kids and the hard workers, you meet mom and dad and it makes perfect sense. So very grateful for my mom in particular, very grateful for my wife and the mom she is to our kids and the moms of the players we have. It's a special group.
And lastly, Coach, you've had fans come out all season, especially, packed it out for a lot of the series. What would you like to say to them going into these final games of the regular season here at home?
Yeah, just continue to challenge them to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they've shown up in droves this year. We've had great crowds, and lots of people in the seats, and just continuing to challenge them to be a factor, you know. And it's fun to come watch a game, but they can impact the result of this game directly by their energy. They can lift our team with their energy. They can create a hard place to play for the other team with their energy. And so just continuing not only to show up, that's great, but let's come make a difference here. Let's make it rowdy. Let's make it loud. Let's not wait until we're hosting a regional to create a raucous environment. I want it to be a 3-hour party for 3 days this weekend.